Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Seva Swine We Connect webinar. Thank you very much for your time to attend. I am Suraphan Boonyawatana. I'm a veterinary service manager for Asia. And together with Philippe Mazerolles, the Swine Corporate Range Manager, today we're going to share with you about the field experience to tackle the swine respiratory disease complex. We have two topics to discuss for today. The first topic will be the experience from the slaughterhouse to detect the respiratory disease complex. And the second topic will be the field experience to monitor the vaccine efficacy. The first topic, Mr. Philippe Mazerolles will be shared with you. Okay, please welcome Philippe. Philippe, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Philippe Mazerolles. I'm a corporate swine marketing manager. And today I will talk about PRDC control, the control of porcine respiratory disease complex, with the presentation of Seva's contribution in the way to score lung lesion at the slaughterhouse in order to better improve the respiratory health of your herds. I'm going today to talk about the objective of CHʾN program. This is a new innovative service that Seva has developed to improve this lung health monitoring, and will describe the lung scoring methodology, and you will see how this lung lesion scoring has been integrated in an innovative application that you could get access very easily. Finally, you will see how the different reports that you will generate have been integrated in a unique platform that will allow you to benchmark the performances of one of the farms that you are following up with the other farm of the same organization or the other farm of the same country. Today, as I said, the way Seva will contribute to the understanding of the PRDC with CHÍn program, tackling two pathogens, and today I will have focus on Mycoplasma hyopneumoniae, and we can also measure the lesion and score the lesion of Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae using a practical method that is very easy to handle, that will allow you to score directly on the tablet the lesion that you're observing, generating report immediately after the end of the scoring, and sharing this report with the other stakeholders that are working in the same farm. So this is a dynamic approach that will allow you to have a better understanding about the current situation, current sanitary health of your herd, to assess the evolution of the health status over the time. So this is why we consider that it is advised to repeat the lung scoring at least 2 times per year to get rid of some external factors like the change of temperatures. And of course, the objective is also to consider and check the benefit of changes and measures that you will apply at farm level, like a different vaccination program or change in the ventilation system or the feeding strategy. Of course, this diagnostic methodology is complementary to other methods that will remain. Of course, the farm audit, historical record of the symptoms, the post-mortem examination, the lab support with serology, bacteriology, and serotyping, for instance, and the monitoring of performances that will be critical and my colleague Suraphan is presenting today how to perform properly a field trial and record performances to determine the best strategy to apply. Why lung scoring can be so important? Because respiratory diseases, of course, are mainly relevant in the finishing period. So the lesion that will appear during the finishing period will remain at the slaughterhouse, some of them at least. It will give you a very good idea about the prevalence and the severity of some of the major pathogens, including Mycoplasma, hyopneumoniae, and Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae. Compare to post-mortem examination of few pigs, sick or dead pigs at the farm. Here you will have a survey of the whole group. We consider that it is recommended to perform the lung scoring on at least 100 pigs per batch. As the methodology is well defined, this kind of audit can be repeated in different farms in different countries, and there is a major interest for you to compare the health status of your farm with other farms, for instance, from the same perimeter, geographical perimeter. This is something that we repeat over the time and will allow to assess and validate some strategies that have been implemented at farm level, like the vaccination program. And that's why you can see today with my colleague Suraphan that when we validate a new vaccination program, one of the key parameters that we are going to follow up is the lung scoring lesion evolution. So why this is so important? Because we already demonstrated, and I will give you some example, and we intend to publish it, a very strong correlation between the incidence of lung lesion at slaughter and the zootechnical performances like average daily gain and feed conversion ratio. So it had been already demonstrated time ago with Barbara Straw study. 10% of affected lungs and means 37 grams of ATG. And more recently, we perform a meta-analysis showing that also when the EP index was increasing, the prevalence of the lesion and severity of the lesion is increasing, then you observe systematically a depreciation of the average daily gain. This is very interesting to see that with several program application that you will get access very easily, very fast. You can score the lungs. And what is very interesting is this unique database that can constitute for you a reference, because you can compare the situation, the initial situation in the farm that you are following up, change the strategy inside the farm, and then look at the influence and on the performances and the lung lesions. For instance, to measure the size of this database, this unique database, in 2020, more than 700,000 lungs have been scored and synchronized in the same way on the same central database. And we expect in 2021 to reach between 900,000 lungs and 1 million lungs all over the world score in the same way. So this is really a huge database. Focusing now on the lung scoring methodology that is proposed in several programs. So as I said, two main axes: Mycoplasma lesion, EP-like lesion, and zootic pneumonia-like lesions will allow you to score the lesion of bronchopneumonia, the percentage of lungs that present a score above 1, and as well the cranioventral pleurisy, together with the scoring of chronic lesion that we call the scars, and I will explain how to score this lesion. Regarding Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae, we will score principally the dorsocaudal pleurisy that are very representative of circulation of Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae, and we will calculate an index, the APP index, that is the combination of the prevalence and the severity of APP lesions. In terms of Mycoplasma-like lesion scoring, we you can see easily on the picture typical lesions of Mycoplasma, principally located on the apical, cardiac, and anterior part of the diaphragmatic lungs. For this scoring, this is critical, of course, to well identify the limits of each lobes. If each lobes will be scored, and you can see we score the severity of the lesions. Score 1 going until 25% of the surface affected, score 2 between 26 and 50% of surface affected, and score 3 until 75%, and finally the score 4 until 100%. The scoring methodology is coming from Professor Madec from France in Brittany, and has been adapted considering the contribution of each lobe to the overall capacity of the lungs, according to the description by Christensen, 1999, in Disease of Swine. So you can see on the right side of this slide that, for instance, the apical lobes count for 5 and 11%, cardiac lobes 6 and 10%, and so on. With this scoring, it will be possible to calculate automatically on the program, on the tablet, the prevalence of lesion, meaning the percentage of bronchopneumonic lungs, and as well the severity of the lesions, with the percentage of affected surface on all the lungs, and the percentage of affected surface of the bronchopneumonic lungs. So usually, maximum of the lesions are seen 2 to 4 weeks after the circulation, and can observe a healing process in 8 to 10 weeks after the circulation. So usually we see quite recent lesion that I've observed, which is complementary of the scars that are in many systems are not measured. So here there is an improvement. You can see on this description that is a qualitative measurement. So either there is no lesion on the left side, score 0, or there is a presence of fissure, retraction, you see with the arrows, some healing process ongoing on the cranial lobes, and we score this kind of lesion with 1. When we observe this kind of chronic lesion, it means that the infection occurred quite early in the life of the animals, usually around the end of the post-weaning phase or the beginning of the finishing phase. Then, after the end of the scoring phase, we calculated the percentage of lungs presenting scars. In the same way, there is another qualitative scoring for the cranial pleurisy score. So you see here pleural adherence between 2 lobes, the apical and cardiac lobes, and this is a kind of situation that you can observe with a co-infection that involve, for instance, swine influenza, Streptococcus suis, and Pastorella multocida, together with Mycoplasma hyopneumoniae. Regarding Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae-like lesions, so as I said, the lesions that we will score are the dorsocaudal pleurisy that are very suggestive for Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae. We use a publication coming from Italy that demonstrated a very good correlation between the percentage of farm seropositivity and presence of the lesion of dorsocaudal pleurisy. The interest of the pleurisy scoring is that the pleurisy usually will remain several weeks even after the pneumonia will resolve. So this is interesting. And in terms of scoring methodology, there will be a score 0, no lesion. Score 1, you see, it doesn't exist because this is a cranioventral pleurisy. We already wanted to distinguish the dorsocaudal pleurisy only that are suggestive for actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae. So it is recommended for the score 0 to use the blade of your knife to remove some trace of blood and not having a false positive. As a score 2, this is a score meaning you have lesion of pleurisy focal, so I mean on located less than 1/3 of the lungs in terms of surface and monolateral. In the score 3, you see the lesion can be either monolateral and extended more than 1/3 of the surface, or it can be a bilateral lesion of type 2, score 2. And finally, the score 4, this is the worst case. It will be with extended lesion. So you see trace of dorsocaudal pleurisy, red adherence on the surface of the lung, on the pleura. Score 4 will be bilateral extended lesion, so more than 1/3 of each part, with very often difficulties even to remove the lungs from the thoracic chest. In SEVA, we pay special attention on training, and I would say even more today, considering the difficult sanitary environment that we are facing. You have observed yourself that many slaughterhouses are closed, especially for external people. So that's why we made a real focus on the training of the employees of the slaughterhouses, for instance, to be able to perform themselves in always a similar way the lung scoring, and then share the information inside the database. So for us, the scoring implies at first a very accurate and strong training of the teams to make sure that the scoring will be performed in appropriate way. As I said, the finality of the scoring is the importance of the correlation that we observe, and this is an example here coming recently from Thailand, and clearly you see the impact and the negative correlation that have been found between the lung lesion scoring and the growth performances. So you see on the left side, for instance, that when the prevalence of bronchopneumonic lungs is increasing, you see the diminution of the average daily gain. And in the same way, same type of demonstration on the right side, when the prevalence of the bronchopneumonic lungs is increasing, we see an increase of the feed conversion ratio. So that means a higher cost of production. So there is a clear correlation and clear impact that we see here in Asia, but as well in other parts of the world, between the prevalence and severity of lung lesion associated to Mycoplasma hyopneumoniae and the impact on the zootechnical performances. This scoring methodology is also a way that we are using to benchmark performances of different vaccination programs over the time based on the large scale assessment. You know, when you perform a change in the vaccination strategy, it takes time to see the impact. Here, what is very interesting is that you get rid of the parameters that are only associated to few farms. This is the country picture, with a very high number of lungs examined, always in the same way. You see almost 20,000 lungs coming from Germany and Austria, 174 batches. So it's a huge study that has been published a few months ago during the European Swine Veterinary Congress, SPHM. And you see, for instance, on this publication that Hyogene, our Mycoplasma vaccine, was definitely always better than the other strategies that have been implemented in the country, either with any other competed product or even with the vaccination. So you see that always Hyogene was showing a lower percentage of bronchopneumonic lungs, and with the red line, lower percentage of affected lung surface. Another example coming from Belgium that confirm, and this is a new indication, because only few days ago we received from the European Commission the authorization to mix Circovac together with Hyogene in the same dose and to inject 2.5 ml per piglet. And the colleagues from Belgium demonstrated clearly that even when you mix Hyogene together with Circovac, you can improve the health status of the herds. And this is something that is really new, because usually when Mycoplasma antigen and PCV2 antigen are mixed in the same vaccine, we have observed a reduction of the Mycoplasma efficacy. Here, absolutely not the case. When you mix Hyogene or Mycoplasma vaccine with Circovac or PCV2 vaccine in what we call duo, you see that you can even numerically improve the health status of the herd. To get the program very easy, you just have to download the application from the store, either the Apple Store or the Google Play Store. You see we have already translated the program in different languages, including many Asian languages, so very easy for you to communicate with the technicians or the farmers directly. So this is very important to explain exactly what is the current situation and how the situation is evolving over the time. In your country, you will just have to contact, after downloading the program, you can just contact SEVA team, and in each country over the world, we have a data manager in the team, in SEVA team, that is responsible of managing the data regarding smart farming. And the SEVA country data manager will open the access to you, to the platform, and to a selection of farms. You would create together some list of farms. Then as a user, you will use your own password and enter the application, select a farm of your perimeter, and then you will just have to start the audit. As you see here on this slide, for instance, clicking on the blue button, the new audit, will allow you to enter into the program, and with the capacity to score directly the lesions, the EP-like lesion in the central part of the page. For each individual lungs, you can score the Mycoplasma-like lesion in the middle, the cranial pleurisy on the top right, the scars on the bottom right, and the dorsocaudal pleurisy indicative of Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae on the left side. When you finish the first lung, you can click on next, and so on. You can also have the opportunity for each lung to take a picture or to take notes if you see something a bit special. The method is very simple, easy to apply, even in Europe with a very high speed on the line. With few seconds, it's possible to score a full lung So even when there is a speed of 500 peaks per hour, this is something possible. At the end of the scoring time, you just have to hit report on the bottom right, and you will generate automatically all the calculation that I have described previously. So you see example on the right side with the EP-like lesion and Actinobacillus pleuropneumoniae-like lesion. So all the percentages of prevalence and severity are automatically calculated, and then you can see with the send button that you have the opportunity to share your information. So you see the information that are designed with graphs, very easy to read and to analyze. So you have one page explaining the Mycoplasma-like lesion, and then graphs showing the APP-like lesion. So this is very important because it will give you the right indication, especially when you are following several farms in the same area. You see some example here coming from several 100,000 lungs in Europe, where we see that more than 1/3 of the lungs were presenting bronchopneumonia lesion. You will see that in Asia, the percentage is even higher. So this is to say that this database is today unique in terms of size, and it really helps to demonstrate that there are still many issues due to Mycoplasma hyopneumoniae in the field. The clear explanation and the illustration coming from Thailand, where you see on the good number of batches here a high prevalence of bronchopneumonic lungs. So it means, you see, for instance, when you don't vaccinate, you're already taking a risk. Also, according to the choice of the vaccine, you see that even some of the vaccine 1 was even higher than non-vaccinated. Of course, depend on the average status of the farm, but just to tell you that with some of the vaccine, there is no protection at all. In terms of severity as well, big deviation between vaccination programs. And when in this tight situation based on different farms, when iodine was selected to protect against Mycoplasma hyopneumoniae, or when iodine was mixed with Cercovac in duo, you see that was the way to really better improve the prevalence of the lesion, less bronchopneumonic percentage of bronchopneumonic lungs, less scars, less cranial pleurisy, better azotic pneumonia index, and less severe lesion as well, as the percentage of affected surface in both group, IgN and duo group, was always lower than competitor groups. So thanks to CHʾN program, you will have the way in your perimeter to really validate the option that you will take to protect the peaks of your herds. And finally, the next step was for us to create this web portal, a unique web portal at a worldwide level, and where you will get access to all the batches of your perimeter. And this is very interesting because in this today's situation where visits are limited, you will get access 24/7 to all the report and all the data corresponding to your perimeter, the list of the farms that have been created by the data manager together with you. And what is also unique is the possibility for you to benchmark the performances of one of your farm with the average of the other farms in the same company, same organization, or the average of the country at country level. So you see here an example with a farm with the comparison of the EP index at the company level was not good. Quartile 4, this is the worst case. I mean, the 25% worst farm. So at the company level, this batch was not good. Nevertheless, at country level, because probably the health status of the company is globally very good, the health status was very good compared to the situation at country level. So you see, sometimes you can have bad performance compared to the same farm of the same organization, and this is usually the priority to improve. And nevertheless, you can have better health status of one organization compared to the rest of the country. So this is very interesting for you to benchmark and see the margin of progress that will remain in one of the farms that you are following up. Also very nice to see and important to see the evolution over the time. So you see an example coming from Spain with different batches and the evolution of the percentage of bronchopneumonia glands of this specific farm compared with the situation at country level with the blue line. So you see that, for instance, for this farm, the health status of the farm was quite severe, with the percentage of bronchopneumonia glands always higher than at country level. So this is interesting because definitely in this farm there is a high margin for improvement. So you see with different dates you can follow up all the parameters and see if you have seen an improvement or not of the performances associated with the improvement of the lung lesion scoring. As a conclusion, I would say that CHʾN program is today the pillar of our technical support. Will help you to follow up performances of the group of farms that you are following. It's a dynamic approach, so you can first see the initial situation when you want to start the process. You can then see the evolution of the health status over the time, and you can assess and validate any change that you will do in the strategy to fight against porcine respiratory disease complex. Data will be always available for you in a remote way. The way to score is relevant because we measure what is significant with the precision level that is good enough for you to take the right decision. You will benchmark the data of a specific farm at country level or at a company level, and always it will help for you to bridge the information between the disease description, the measure that we will apply, and the benefit that you will get after the implementation of a change in the strategy at the farm level. So I would like to thank you very much for your attention. Of course, I will stay with you for the question and answer part, and I wish you a very good session today.
Thank you very much, Philippe, for your nice presentation. As he mentioned, slaughter check is one of the most effective tools to monitor your farm status on the respiratory disease complex. And if you know that your farm might have this kind of problem of complex, another strategy to solve or prevent it is to vaccine against those pathogens. And of course, to vaccine against PCV2 and MHIO has been proved that the method, these strategies work. So today I will share with you about the field experience to monitor for the vaccine efficacy. Let me share my screen. Okay, for my topic today is, first, we have to know the objective, and then we have to know how to run the trial. And after that, we know the good objective, we know how to run the trial. Actually, this is very important because we have to make sure that the result is not came out by the incidence, or this result is not by the confounder or another factor. And then I will show you the experience from the North Asia and also together with the Southeast Asia. And then I will have a conclusion. Okay, for the objective, this on the field trial to monitor for the vaccine efficacy, we have to confirm the benefit of the vaccine, which is the PCV2 and Mycoplasma in the farm condition. And we have to know that we have to know the criteria to monitor. Of course, first the performance, which is the loss percent or the average daily weight gain, and the feed conversion ratio, and also with the clinical size of the PCV2, and also the lung lesion score on Mycoplasma. And then we will know that, okay, how's vaccine is work and how's the efficacy of the vaccine. How to run the trial? First, you have to know the status of your farm, and then after you know that, and then you can decide for the experimental. So the status of your farm, first, what is the status on the PCV? Is it clinical PCV or subclinical? Clinical is mean you have like PCV2SD or PCV2LD, PDNS, or you have more than 6% of mortality. You can consider your farm might have PCV clinical problem. Or subclinical, maybe your performance is lower than you expect, or lower than before, or maybe lower than the average in those areas, in your areas. For Mycoplasma, of course, to check with the Mycoplasma like lesion in the slaughterhouse, if you have the lung which affect more than 5%, and you have more than 20% of this lung which have effect, you will know that your farm will have Mycoplasma problem. After you know the status of your farm, you can check for the experimental design. First, the pig group. We have to have high enough of the sample size, which is I will recommend you for the 350 per group at least, and we have to divide by those piglets from the parity, and the parity that we mentioned is to have like parity 1, parity 2, and from the parity 3, 4, 5, we can consider more than parity 3. We divide those groups in equal number, and then we have to raise the pig in the same house and also raise with the same feed, same management. After that, we can monitor for the serology. We recommend to check the serology around more than 10 pigs per group, and we can check. We can sampling the sample at the times of vaccination to check that, okay, is it good time for vaccinate or not? If not, we have to consider to change the time of vaccination. If yet, we can make sure that, okay, now the time of vaccination is good, and then we can monitor for the vaccine efficacy. The serum sample will monitor for the PCV2. We can use PCR or qPCR, and ELISA for the Ingesim Circle IgG ELISA. So we can monitor for the MDA. Is it too high or not? And one of the important is the performance of the pig. We can monitor the ADG by, we can wait at mean, in the end of the nursery house, and in the end of the slaughterhouse, or at the slaughter time, we can check for the feed quantity. And also another important to monitor for the Mycoplasma is to check for the lung lesion score. At least we recommend more than 100 lung in each group. And with this kind of trial protocol, you can make sure that this trial, the result of the trial is not by coincidence, or it's not by they have less bias, and you can know that this is the represent of your farm. Okay, so, and now we're proud to present that SIVA, we just have an approved of dual strategy, which is CircoVac mixed with hydrogen dual in Europe. Now we have license, and with the dual concept, we use one shot, 2.5 ml per dose, and we have prove that the duration of immunity is at least 23 weeks of age, which is if you vaccinate at 3 weeks, it will be protect your pig until the 26th week. And is this concept is work or not? We have proof in North Asia and Southeast Asia. Let me show you the experience in the field in North Asia first. This trial were performed in the Korea. We run the trial in 500 cell sites with the PCV subclinical problem, and we found the Mycoplasma lesion, and also together with the PRS, both type 1 and type 2. We do the trial compare with the dual Circovac and Hydrogen to get compare with the current vaccine that this farm use, which is PCV and MIO mix and vaccinate at 2 ml. After 6 hours of vaccination, we took some sample of the pig, do the necropsy to check the immune cell in the injection site, and we also wean and weight and do serum sample. At 6, 16, and 20 weeks, we do serum sample, and we do weight for the pig in the end of the nursery and weight at the slaughter time, and then we do the slaughter, do CLP for the lung lesion score at the slaughterhouse. The result, after 6 hours of vaccination, we found that more immune cell in the dual group compared with the control. And in the slaughterhouse, for the CLP score, we found that dual group have 0.12 and the control group have 0.31. And the lung which have the Mycoplasma lesion in dual group is 11.5% compared with the control group is 30.7%. The performance of the pig, the dual group have 6% mortality compared with 8% in the control group. And also the average daily weight gain is the dual group, they have 559 compared with the control group is 547. This is the experience from North Asia. And then I will go to the Southeast Asia. This farm, we run the trial in Thailand. The farm which 800 cell site, we confirm this farm has a PCV subclinical, but with the high MIO lesion in the slaughterhouse. We vaccinate the pig at 4 weeks, compare the dual Circovac and Hydrogen together with the current vaccine that this farm use, which is the PCV and MIO, ready to use, 2 ml. And at the slaughter time, we wait and also do the lung lesion score. The result from this farm, for the lung lesion score, the lung which have the lesion, 72% in the dual group and 79% in the control group. And the score of the lesion, 9.2% in the dual group and 11% in the control group. Let's see for the performance parameter. The dual group have 2.6 compared with the control have 7.2. And the average daily gain, dual have 755. The control group has 695. The slaughter weight is the same, which is 106. But the slaughter day to slaughterhouse is the dual group have shorter day to slaughterhouse. So dual can reduce the mortality, the pig go faster, and also reduce the lung lesion score. So from both experience, we confirm that dual is work. And for my conclusion, to monitor for the vaccine efficacy, we have to have good objective, and also we have to have good trial design to make sure that the result is not by coincidence. And with dual concept, we have proof in both area of the North Asia and Southeast Asia. And also we have compared with the current PCV and MHIO, both the mixed product and the ready-to-use product. And this is all of my presentation today. I'm very happy. We are very happy to get the question. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much for your attention. Now we are happy to get your question. So we have some question already. Okay, this question is about the relation between the lung score and the peak performance. So I think this question is for Philippe. Okay. The question is, do we have any relation after we do the lung score with our CRP system and with the performance of the peak?
Thank you, Suraphan. I think it's an important point to share and that can open the discussion with the audience, because indeed what we consider is that the lung lesion scoring will, of course, not only provide information about the prevalence and severity of the disease that we face in a specific farm, but thanks to a recent meta-analysis that we have performed based on published trials, we clearly demonstrated that there was a correlation between the importance of the lung lesion and the average daily gain. And this is very interesting to consider that in the literature, most of the information available was quite old. Everybody knows about the Barbara Stroh correlation, 10% of bronchopneumonia, I mean minus 37 grams of ADG. So at our level, we thought that it is important to update this kind of correlation based on new health status of the farms and new genetic lines, for instance. So this is interesting to note that, yes, based on recent experience, and I remind you that this year, we will reach probably between 900,000 lungs, between 900,000 and 1 million lungs score, thanks to CHʾN program. So based on a huge database, we found this correlation, and at the end, 1 point difference on the EP index was meaning 110 grams of ADG, so which is a lot at the end.
Okay, so with the program, they will show the impact of the lung lesion score with the performance in the result in the dashboard, right?
Exactly. So we, as you have seen, for each batch, there is an opportunity to benchmark your performance with the other farms in the same pig organization or at the country level. So you have a good understanding about your margin of progress, and you can correlate this margin of progress in terms of EP index deviation. You can translate it easily in average daily gain improvement.
So and I can tell you that now CHÍVA program, lung program is available. You can download it from the App Store, and you also can ask our CHÍVA colleague in the country how to apply the CHÍVA lung program.
Yeah, that will be indeed very easy. You just have to download the application from the store, either Google Play Store or Apple Store. And once the application has been downloaded, get in contact with SEVA team locally in your country, and they will provide you the access. And we will create the farm of your perimeter, and then in a remote way, 24/7, you will get access to all the data available in your perimeter.
Okay, thank you very much, Philip. And so maybe come to the, let me find out the related question. Okay, so do SEVA have another program or apps? So do we have another program? Do SEVA have another program like CLP in different perspective?
Yes, as you may know, SEVA is very much involved in reproduction as well. So we have an application that will help the swine farm manager to well anticipate the introduction of the gilts and apply a proper treatment to synchronize the heat of the gilts, so the proper gilt introduction. We are indeed very much involved in reproduction management. And we also paid a special attention on the economic assessment of different strategy that you could implement. So we have one application that is called the Respinomics and one that is called Repronomics. That one is more focused on I would say from weaning to the slaughter weight, calculating the impact of some improvement of mortality and ADG or feed conversion ratio and mortality on your economic feedback and improvement. And in the same way, we have an application that is mainly focusing on reproduction parameter to see what could be the impact of a specific reproduction improvement on your benefit. So yes, we try always to correlate, I would say, zootechnical performances improvement with economical return.
Okay, yeah, and we also have the platform called PHP. In that platform, you can see every service that we have. To monitor your farm. And
yes, and what is unique so far is that immediately and I would say automatically you will be able to position a new batch that you will score, for instance, with the average of your perimeter. So either within a same company or at country level. So you can already compare. We have 4 classes that we call quartile, with going from the 25% best farms of the operation or of the country, go to the 25% worst farm. So this is very interesting because instead of proposing you, I would say, a theoretical improvement, you can really have a good target based on farms that are living in the same environment than yours.
Okay. Yeah.
And as we are following also the performances over the time, this is really a dynamic approach. So it means you can really follow the improvement of your performances over the time, because we always consider that, of course, in a swine unit, you need to be patient, and some of the changes at the farm level will take several months, around 6 months at minimum, to be seen as an improvement in the parameter. So with the historical record of your performances, you will have this dynamic vision of your operation.
Mm-hmm. So with this app, not only you can monitor your farm or interpret your farm on that time, they also have like ability to collect the data for you. and you can compare the data from the past and check what have you implement anything, and do we have any improvement or something not improved. Yeah, okay, so maybe I will go to another question. This one is about the vaccine, the new dual mix, Cercovac and hydrogen. The question is, how long can we use after we mix the vaccine?
So from a label point of view, of course, should be used, I would say, immediately after mixing, the same day. But also we wanted to understand better the stability of the mix over the time. So that's why we have performed in vitro testing, and we have tested and quantify the antigen concentration of the PCV2 antigen and Mycoplasma antigen. And what I can share with you today is that after 7 days, what we found on the antigen measurement was a perfect stability in the antigen concentration on both for both antigen, the PCV2 antigen and the Mycoplasma antigen. So 7 days after mixing.
Okay, so yeah, with this dual concept, what our recommendation is to use it within the day, but we also have another study on the stability. And we found that after 7 days past the antigen quantity, the stability is still the same. And
exactly the same.
Yeah, and I think we have the in vivo study in Asia, not public yet, but we also find this kind of the titer, the immunity response in the same way as we did in the lab, in the in vitro study. Okay, the next question will be because Cercovac cell in the sow in beginning, and how about the dual concept? Should we do it in the sow or not?
So clearly the positioning of duo, so mixing Cercovac and Iogen, should be at winning time. At winning time, because something that is important to say as well is that the European authorities just granted as well 23 weeks duration of immunity after injecting duos with I would say long-term challenge trial. So that means to protect pigs during the whole finishing period, we recommend definitely to vaccinate a piglet with duo with 2.5 ml per piglet at weaning, as you presented previously, Suraphan. It is also true that there is usually a recommendation to vaccinate gilts with Cercovac. And this is something that is largely practiced in the field, and when necessary, sometimes the farmers are vaccinating gilts also with Iogen. Usually, we don't recommend to vaccinate with the mix on the south, especially because usually we should not be it should not be necessary to vaccinate sows against Mycoplasma. So the recommendation and the positioning definitely is to focus on the piglet vaccination at weaning.
Okay, yeah, the gill and piglet vaccination. Trao, maybe just Cercovac, not.
Yes, exactly, and now with several years of experience managing Cercovac vaccination, we consider that the sow vaccination must be recommended when there is a reproduction disorder associated with PCV2, or when we observe an early circulation of PCV2. And in that case, yes, Cercovac offers this type of protection on early piglet. But I would say in the large majority of farms, the priority will be the piglet at weaning and the gilts in quarantine.
Piglet at weaning.
and gilts during the quarantine.
Yeah, sow also at weaning is
when sows
if need.
when sows vaccination is advised, indeed we recommend to vaccinate both sows and piglets around weaning. This is the way to avoid any interference with the maternally derived antibodies.
Okay, do we have more time for one question? Yeah, about PCV variation. So, do we have any data show that we can have like cross protection?
About this question, it is true that recently we have seen some discussion about the cross genotype protection. Especially in Asia, you know that PCV 2D genotype is the genotype that is the most important one, especially when you have clinical form of the PCV2 infection. In our own facilities, we are very lucky because our researchers have the capability to perform a PCV2D challenge model. So we have, since several years, the opportunity to compare vaccination program in front of PCV2D genotype challenge. We demonstrated the perfect protection when we are using duo in front of PCV2D challenge trials. And to complete this whole picture, I would say that thanks to the excellent job performed by Professor Segales in Barcelona as well, we had recent published information in front of PCV2B challenge trial. So today we consider, and it is not new, already Professor Oprisnik some years ago published information with Circovac alone in front of PCV2D. Most of the scientists today consider that there is a good protection, cross-genotype protection, when you vaccinate with PCV2A genotype in front of 2B or 2D genotype.
Okay, thank you very much, Philip. And Circovac can protect. Yeah, we have data on PCV2A, B, and D.
Exactly.
Okay, and I think we are really happy to be here with you, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for joining this event.
Okay.